Purchasing power parity theory of exchange rate determination has two versions. One is absolute purchasing power parity theory. Second one is relative purchasing power parity theory. Here today we are going to look at relative purchasing power parity theory. Before going into the details of the theory, let me remind you that purchasing power parity theory, which was developed and improved by Gustav Cassel, states or confirms the presence or operation of the law of one price in both countries. This law of one price can be confirmed not in absolute terms but in value terms. So to speak, 10 rupees worth commodity in India will be priced 1 Chinese yuan in China at the rate of 1 Chinese yuan is equal to 10 Indian rupee. So this is the law of one price. Briefly, we can distinguish between absolute purchasing power parity theory and relative purchasing power parity theory. While absolute purchasing power parity theory considers the change in exchange rate which is proportional to the price level in both nations. At the same time, relative purchasing power parity theory measures the exchange rate, measures the change in exchange rate that should be proportional to the relative change in price levels in both countries. So that is the only difference. So while absolute purchasing power parity theory considers only the exchange rate which is exactly proportional to the price level, relative purchasing power parity theory measures the exchange rate, the change in exchange rate that should be proportional to the relative change in price level in both nations. So let me straight away go to the equation for finding the exchange rate as per the relative purchasing power parity theory. The equation for finding the exchange rate, the change in exchange rate is, the equation for finding the change in exchange rate is R1 is equal to P1 by P0 whole divided by P star 1 by P star 0 into R0. So here R1 is the exchange rate in the period 1. That means that is the changed exchange rate or new exchange rate or change in exchange rate in the period 1. R0 refers to exchange rate in the base period. And P1 is the price level in the domestic economy in the period 1. P0 is the price level in the domestic economy in the base period. And here we measure how much change happened in the price level in both domestic economy and foreign economy. P star 1 is the change in price level or price level in the foreign country, foreign economy, foreign market in the period 1, and P star 0 is the price level in the foreign market, foreign economy in the base period. So here we measure the change in price level. Exchange rate will be proportional to the change in price level, relative change in price level in domestic and foreign economies. So before going into the calculation of exchange rate as per the relative purchasing power parity theory, let's look how does the inflation affect the exchange rate. So here if the domestic price level increased without no change in foreign price level, for example 10% domestic inflation happened in the economy, 10% domestic inflation is there without no change in price level in the foreign economy, 0% inflation is assumed in the foreign economy here in our example. And that means 10% domestic inflation could lead to 10% depreciation of the domestic currency in terms of the foreign counterpart. And the reverse will happen if there is no change in price level in the domestic economy and 10% inflation in the foreign economy. So that means that could lead to 10% appreciation of the domestic currency or 10% depreciation of the foreign currency. So this could happen. So here is our example for you. In our example, P1 is equal to 1100, P0 is equal to 1000, P star 1 is 50, P star 0 is 50. That means P1, P1 is the price level, domestic price level in the period 1. P0 is the domestic price level in the base period. P star 1 is the price level in the foreign economy in the period 1. P star 0 is the base year price level in the foreign economy. So there is no change in foreign price level of the foreign economy, but there is a change in price level in the domestic economy, and R0 here is 66. So as per the equation, we have to calculate the change in exchange rate, considering the change in price level in both domestic and foreign economies. So here P1 by P0, that is 1100 by 1000. P1 by P0, 1100 by 1000, that is 1.1. So that is 1.1. So 1.1 divided by P star 1 by P star 0. P star 1 is 50, P star 0 is 50. So P star 1 by P star 0 is 1. So 1.1 by 1 is 1.1. So 1.1 into R0, R0 is 66. So 1.1 into 66 is 72 point something. So India's exchange rate, or the domestic currency's exchange rate, the currency will depreciate from 66 rupees per $1 into 72 rupees per $1. So this is the inflation in the domestic economy could lead to the depreciation of the domestic currency. So this is the way in which the exchange rate is determined as per the relative purchasing power parity theory. Here is another example for you. P1 is 1050. 1050, P0 is 1000, P star 1 is 80, P star 0 is 45. So there is considerable inflation in the foreign economy, and there is a slight inflation in the domestic economy as well. So we have to consider both price level, changes in price level in both domestic and foreign economies. So here, as per the equation, P1 by P0 is P1 is 1050 and P star is 1000 or 1000. So 1050 by 1000 is equal to 1.05. So 1.05 is its value. 1.05 divided by P star 1 by P star 0. P star 1 is 80, P star 0 is 45. 80 by 45 is 1.77. So P1 by P0 by whole divided by P star 1 by P star 0, then is equal to 1.05 divided by 1.77. 1.05 divided by 1.77 is equal to 0.59. So 0.59 has to be multiplied with the R0. R0 is the base year exchange rate of the domestic currency. It is 66. So 0.59 into 56 is equal to around 39, I think. So 39 will be the R1. R1 is the change in exchange rate due to the relative change in price level in foreign economy and domestic economy. Here the inflation is pretty stronger in the foreign economy than the domestic economy. So foreign currency has depreciated considerably compared to the domestic currency. Domestic currency appreciated substantially due to the higher inflation abroad. So this is associated with the relative inflation in both domestic economy and foreign economy. If there is only inflation, if inflation happens only in the domestic economy without any change in price level in the foreign economy, only the domestic currency will depreciate, and reverse will happen if inflation happens only in the foreign economy without any change in price level in the domestic economy. Then foreign currency will depreciate and domestic currency will appreciate. So to speak, the exchange rate as per the relative purchasing power parity theory is negatively or inversely associated with inflation. And there is another possibility of no change in exchange rate when both foreign price level and domestic price level are changing simultaneously. For example, 10% inflation in the domestic economy, 10% inflation in the foreign economy. So there could be no change in the exchange rate. So that there could be no depreciation and no appreciation of both foreign currency and domestic currency. The exchange rate remains the same. And all the drawbacks of the absolute purchasing power parity theory are also the drawbacks of the relative version of the purchasing power parity theory. Here the only difference is that a change in price level is considered, which is good, and the main drawback of the theory is that of the purchasing power parity theory is that it is associated with the trade flow. So the exchange rate is as per the purchasing power parity theory is representing only the trade flow. Capital flows are also relevant in determining the exchange rate, but it has been completely ignored by the purchasing power parity theory, and there are many non-traded or less traded goods and services like the cement, furniture, hair cutting is a service which is non-traded or very less traded service, and all these commodities and services cannot have the representation in the exchange rate if it is determined as per the purchasing power parity theory.